You're watching BNN Bloomberg. I'm John Ehrlichman. This week we've heard from different provinces on their plans to reopen their economies. But what does that mean specifically for the businesses at the center of that story, including retailers? Let's get some perspective now from Heather Reisman, the chair and CEO of Indigo. Heather, nice to have you back with us on BNN Bloomberg. As we've been talking about this story of reopening, as a major retailer, what's been top of mind for you? What do you think about first and foremost on that subject?
Well, the number one thing is the safety of our staff and safety of our customers. Because everybody knows, even if there is an intelligent and gradual reopening, and heaven knows we want to, all of us, to re-enter the real world, we are going to have to practice all of the elements of protection that have been talked about the last while. So we are all about the equipment for our employees. You know, it's masks. It's likely some kind of gloves when they're doing all kinds of cleaning and disinfectant. And then it's creating an environment of social distancing within the store. And then what are we doing for our customers? So hand sanitizer on the way in, giving gentle guidance about social distancing in the store. And so it is essentially taking these practices that we have all developed over the last 8 weeks, and I think we've developed them well, and introducing them into the commercial environment so that we can ensure that the advantages that have been gained are sustained. What we don't want, what nobody wants, is a relapse. So that's first and foremost on our mind, 100%, is creating a way to re-enter, reconnect, but being respectful of this virus.
And clearly each province is taking a different approach, but for a business that operates in different provinces, what does that mean? Is that something that is easily navigated?
I think the basic principles are independent of any government. There's enough opportunity to get guidance from the medical professionals that say this is the wisest way to re-enter, to follow these practices. So everybody in the company, home office, in our stores, in our DCs, everybody will follow these practices. And then the issue provincially is some may ease their restrictions earlier. I mean, British Columbia had far fewer cases. They may say they're ready to open sooner. So I think the provincial issue is not about the protective measures, but just about timing.
And in terms of that timing, because I guess we don't quite know, even as doors start to reopen, how long we're going to have sort of this new normal period. How do you feel in terms of your confidence in getting access to some of those things you talked about, the equipment, the sanitizer, to have that stuff for as long as you need it, which seems to be sort of a developing story? Is there access to all of that?
Yes. So far, we are able to get access. Oh, I should say, in terms of preparation, the other element of preparation I know we have done and many others is implementation of curbside pickup. And so that will be another element that provides those customers who are more comfortable full access to curbside pickup. Indigo will have it across all of its stores. So I would just add that I think many retailers are considering that. But as far as access, it's a great question. I'm just about to go to a meeting on that. My understanding right now is that we will be in fine shape to open. I was talking to a couple of landlords. I know many landlords of shopping malls are also thinking about providing masks to visiting customers. So I believe right now people are feeling that they are getting access, but whether we will experience other shortages, it's a good question, John. I don't know the answer.
Well, it's hard to know the answers right now, quite frankly, and I'm glad you mentioned landlords as well, and that's interesting that, you know, that relationship of them playing a role in maybe helping to get some of that. We're trying to figure out how things will play out on the rent relief subject. What's been your assessment of that as we get more details on, you know, the number of landlords that will sort of...
Right. So I have actually been working quite hard on this issue. You know that the government came out with a package for small business, but I have been very focused on the majority of retailers which don't fall under the initiative that was announced last week. And I, along with a couple of people, have been leading an effort with some partners on the landlord side to address how we as retailers absorb the huge financial burden that has been created by this forced closure. It was the right decision to close, but it is a massive financial burden. And so I'm a few days early from being able to talk about this, but we are working very closely with a group of 5 of the largest landlords in the country and with government to try and encourage a partnership approach between retailers, landlords, and government to help us through this period. And John, when you're closed for 3 months or 2 months, 2.5 months, and then you open slowly, it's hard to fully express the economic impact of that to those of us in this sector, in the sector that's called non-essential retail, all those of us who had to be closed. It is a huge financial burden. And people sometimes don't realize that not only are we in this sector the ones you visit on a regular basis, but retailers are very significant contributors to city taxes. We support the cities. It's the retailers in this country who are the quite significant supporters of what we benefit from in our cities. So great that you asked, and maybe this would be a good discussion for next week. We'll have lots to say next week.
We'll wait for more details on that, but I do, just because you're talking more about on the landlord side of it, but in terms of conversations that you've been having with retailers, I mean, it's my understanding that you've talked with companies like Aritzia and Good Life as well, right? Just sort of retailers talking to each other about the road
lots
ahead?
Of retailers, but including those, the Bay, right, lots of retailers. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Heather, thanks a lot. We'll look forward to more details. Always appreciate it.
Okay, terrific. Have a good day, John. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Heather Reisman, Chair